Ladies and gentlemen, we are back live in Las Vegas on the Atrium Showcase stage at the Luxor Hotel with the standout stars and the Get Stage Ready VIP speaker retreat. Our next speaker is an absolute treat. He is an inventor, he is an expert in product development, but most of all, he knows how to take your business from the valley to the mountaintop. I want you to help me welcome Dan the Man Kapellen, who is the creator of Peak Biz Performance.
Hello, Las Vegas! Who's glad to be here? I am, and I got a lot of help to get here, I gotta tell you. I came from very humble beginnings on a farm, but I learned the hard way to ask for help. Who here has ever asked for help?
Yep.
We got people who've asked for help. Now, I'm a dude, okay? So when I get lost in the forest, I'm not going to stop at the gas station and ask for directions. At least I didn't used to. I have learned how to ask for help and ask for direction. And that's what I'm going to talk about today, because I want you to discover 3 people who will help you succeed. We're going to talk about these 3 people. You're going to learn who they are. And by the end of today, you will want to meet your 3 people. I'd like to talk a little bit, if I could, about my earliest days. Right? Have that with you? Do I have that, your permission? So, when I was younger, I grew up on a farm. Now, farming is the quintessential entrepreneurial experience. And it comes with all the entrepreneur perks, too. 80 plus hours a week, limited budget, and most of all, unlimited problems that you're constantly having to solve. Can anybody relate to that? Yeah. And one thing, too, about a dairy farm is you have a bonus that prepares you for corporate life. I grew up having to shovel a lot of manure. We've got some slow people in the audience. As I progressed and I began to think about things, I realized that was not the life I wanted. I wanted more, but I didn't know what I wanted. All I knew was I wanted off the farm. It was constraining. I was a mediocre athlete, but I loved sports, and I wanted to become a better athlete. But I really couldn't because I was constrained to the farm. And I told my frustrations one day to my physical education teacher. And I thought, if I can't be an athlete, I'll be a physical education teacher. And he said, Dan, you would be a good engineer. You're good at science and you're good at math. Why don't you think about that? So I talked to the counselor, and the counselor said, well, you'll have to go to college. Now, I was the oldest of 7 children. And I grew up in a county in which the whole idea was that the oldest son takes over the farm from dad. Out of all my extended cousins, nobody ever went to college. I was the first. It was not well accepted. I can still see my mom taking me down to the university on orientation day. She was gripping the steering wheel so tight that her knuckles turned white, literally. But I made it. And I moved into the transportation industry. Through my experience in college, I worked on hybrid vehicles. Who remembers the Toyota Prius? So my thesis was on hybrid powertrains. That's what the Toyota Prius is based on. My professor turned into the chief consultant for that car. It had never been done before. And when I was working on it, a few people knew a little bit about it, but not much. As I progressed through my career, I worked on natural gas buses. I developed sophisticated components to make those buses run on natural gas. Typically, they ran on the dirty, smelly diesel. I did want to clean the environment. And at Ford Motor Company, I developed some of the earliest controls that are still being used on the cars today. It was an awesome experience. I, went into more of the marketing side of things. I ended up co-founding a company. Again, became an entrepreneur, moved out of the corporate world for a moment anyway. And I was the type of person, because of my farming mindset, my engineering mindset, who thought about people and thought about things rather than people. Things were easy to solve. People weren't. So people were to be ignored. You don't make a lot of friends that way. As I progressed even further, I got into marketing, and at least I knew that there were customers out there with problems to be solved. And I loved the marketing, and it gave me a chance to travel the world as an international speaker to the customers. I traveled to 19 countries, talking about our products, listening to the customers, but for the most part, I kind of ignored the people who were my peers. Management loved me because I solved problems. I made them look good, and I thought that's what my job was supposed to be. And it capped my career. I continued doing what I was doing. I was traveling 50% of the time overseas, seeing new things, but I was changing time zones on an ongoing basis. And one day, I came into the office after a long, grueling trip, and I just wasn't feeling so good. And about 11 o'clock in the morning, I had a tap on the shoulder to wake me up. I was literally flat with my face on the desk, snoring, coughing every now and then. The team around me was a little bit concerned for my health, and my boss said, "You go to urgent care right now and don't come back until your doctor writes you a note saying it's okay to go to work." I went to urgent care. They called my doctor. The doctor admitted me to the hospital. I had pneumonia. I spent a few days in the hospital and then 2 weeks recovering, most of it on drugs that had me sleeping 22 hours a day. But the few waking hours that I had, I thought, what good is this kind of life? I took the first opportunity for an early retirement when that chance came. And what did I do? I embarked on entrepreneurship. Except that now I was a solopreneur and I no longer had the corporate resources. So I fumbled and stumbled and did stupid things. Ultimately, I got some mentorship. But before I got that mentorship, I had another rude awakening. July 1 of 2019, I was sitting at my desk in my office at home, as entrepreneurs do, many of us. Doorbell rings. Go to the door, I'm thinking it's the mailman or Amazon or something, and look up, there's this dude, he's about 6'6", and it looked like somebody, took a slab of steel. Did you ever see what's the movie, 2001, where you got that monolith? That's what this guy looked like, right? And he's holding a clipboard, and he says, "Sorry, dude, to ruin your day," but turns the clipboard around, he says, "I need your signature." The top line said, "Petition for divorce." At first, I didn't believe it. But I read a few more words, I understood it. He was patient, gave me the time to sign it. I took the paper and walked to my office. My head was swirling. And I thought, my life had been all about doing certain things. I was the last person in my immediate family of 7 siblings to still be married, 47 years. Everybody else had been divorced. I thought, I'm a role model for my kids and my grandkids, and that's what I expected to be. like any marriage, we had our ups and downs, but I didn't think it would be anything like this. I met somebody who helped mentor me through that process. And in that process, I began to understand the importance of embracing and nurturing people and the relationships associated with that. I also learned that I could be an inspiration, really for the first time in my life. This person later told me how inspiring I was, and that she had learned some lessons as well that have helped her better appreciate people and finding a purpose in life. And that was the thing about it, was talking about a purpose in life, something I hadn't really thought about before. I also learned that there's really three people that I need to work with, that I need help from to succeed in business. Are you ready to know who those people are?
Yes.
Yes.
Are you ready to learn to discover who those people are?
Yes.
All right. I guess I have to reveal my secrets now. So, the first person, anybody want to guess who the first person is? Okay? I'll tell you, it's you. Yes. Everything starts in here. And one of the concepts I developed and became familiar with is everyday leadership. And that is showing up as a leader with every person you meet, every single day, in every single interaction. And if you can't lead yourself, you're not going to lead anybody else. So you have to start with you. But where do you lead yourself to? You need to understand your purpose for existing. That requires a lot of introspection. It doesn't just happen instantly. But there's one thing that really influenced me and motivated me to learn that purpose for existing, and that was my family, my grandkids. And I had a number of experiences who helped me with that. And one of them occurred again relatively recently. Went to the fair with one of my daughters and her kids, 9-year-old granddaughter, 11-year-old grandson. The 9-year-old daughter, she would not go anywhere without taking my hand. And we had these vans that let us go on rides for the entire day until 5 o'clock p.m. And so we're going from ride to ride, and she's tugging along. Come on, Grandpa, come on, Grandpa. And let's go on this ride. Let's go on that ride. And her brother's dutifully tagging along because he wanted to go on the rides too. And her parents were hanging way behind, but staying close enough to get to where we were going to go on a ride because they wanted to take pictures of us. So we went on the merry-go-round, the tilt-a-whirl, the giant slide, the mirror rooms, and I don't even know the names of some of the other rides, some kind of caterpillar ride or whatever it was. But we're getting toward the end of the day. We're on the merry-go-round, and when we went on the merry-go-round, she always wanted to be by my side. And every time we'd have little chats. And so I knew this would be our last time, and I said, Maddie, someday you're going to bring your grandchildren to the fair. And you're going to remember this fun day with Grandpa. And I thought that she'd say, oh yeah, I sure am. Instead, she gets this quizzical look on her face, and she turns and she said, you'll be dead. Yeah, physically, I will be. And I said, Maddie, will you remember me? Grandpa, I'll always remember you. And I said, as long as you remember me, I will be alive in your memory, even if I'm physically not here. My dream is to be remembered for as long as possible. not just my grandchildren, but others as well. My mission is to inspire, to motivate, and to enlighten 10 million people to reach for their peak in business and in life. So who are these people that we're going to meet? I said first was you. The second is your audience. Now, I'm not talking literally about the audience who's here today. It could be. But we often in business think of our audience as our customers. But we think of them on a transactional basis. We want them to be more than a transaction. We want them to be loyal advocates, people who are cheering for us. And not only is it our customers, it is our family, it is our peers, it is our subordinates if we're managing a team or a company. We want advocates. And how do you do that? You do that through everyday leadership, which is showing up as a leader in every interaction with every person every day. Finally, your alliances. Now, what's different between an audience and alliances? The alliances are people that you collaborate with. They fill the holes in the things that you are, maybe you don't like to do, maybe you're not good at, and maybe you can help them fill the holes in what they don't like to do or what they're not good at. And of course, you want to monetize it. So, let me summarize the three people. You want to meet people. You want to dig deeply with the ones that you align with, the ones that who you want to take action with. And you want to love deeply with these people and nurture those relationships and develop a trust, because business moves at the speed of trust. And that's where your alliances can help you as well. And they can create more advocates, more audience for you. And when you're interacting with people you're aligned with, and you're sitting and having that drink, you become a better you as well. That first person that you need to understand and be introduced to. So, did I keep you my promise? And that is, do you want to be inspired to meet your three people? Did I hear a yes?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's progress. And do you better understand why and how these three people are important?
Yes.
So I have a free gift for you. And I talked about everyday leadership as the methodology for connecting with these people and nurturing those relationships. And this free gift is called Everyday Leadership, 10 Key Principles for Success. And you can download it by going to leadership.peakbizperformance.com. And I have QR codes and whatever, but just go to that website, download the free gift. And over time, I'll have some additional information for you, and because I want you to succeed. And I'm here to help. And now you know the importance of asking for help, and I cannot wait to help you. I'm Dan Kapellen with Peak Biz Performance, and I am so pleased to have been here today. Thank you.